Hey gang, and welcome back. These videos are brought to you by Card Conduit, the best place to sell your unused collection fast and easily. 401 Games, Canada's top shop for all your hobby and TCG needs. Dragon Shield, the strongest sleeves for your strongest decks. Moxfield, the easiest way to store and share your deck lists. Colby wins the die roll and starts us off. He draws and plays a Sunlit Marsh. Andy plays a Tap Godless Shrine and passes. Max plays a Plains and ships it after that. Zach draws and plays Lair of the Hydra and passes. Colby plays a Dragonskull Summit and then pays 1 to land cycle in Ash Barrens. Andy's turn has him playing a Plains and casting Thieves' Tools. Max draws, plays a Mountain, and casts Tome of Legends, which as it enters, gets a counter. Zach's turn has him playing a Pendlehaven and casting Sylvan Anthem. Colby draws, plays an Exotic Orchard, and then casts Terra. He moves to combat and mills 2 off of Terra's ability, and then passes turn. Andy's got a high market, and casts Priest of Ancient Lore. This has him gaining a life, and drawing a card, and then passing turn. Max's turn has him playing a Plains, and then casting Bitterthorn. Zach just plays a Forest. Colby plays a High Market for turn, and moving to combat, mills 2 to Terra's trigger. He then swings Terra at Andy. Andy takes the hit for 3, and after combat, Colby casts Braids. He then moves to his end step. He sacrifices Braids to itself, and Andy sacrifices a creature while Max and Zach take 2. This has Colby drawing 2, and passing turn after that. Andy just plays a Swamp and casts Squall. Max's turn has him activating the Tome of Legends, drawing a card, and then playing a tapped Furycom Snarl. He then swings Bitterthorn at Colby, getting to find a land on attack, and Colby takes the 1, and Max then passes. Zach's just got a Forest, and then casts Toski. He scries 1 from the Anthem as it comes in. Colby plays a Rugged Prairie, and then casts Joshua Phoenix Dominant. He discards 2, including Anger, and draws 2, and goes to combat. This has him milling 2, and Colby then swings Terra at Zach. Zach takes the hit for 3, and Colby then pays 2 when she connects, to reanimate Braids. Moving to his end step, once more Colby sacrifices Braids to itself, with no one sacrificing a creature. This has Colby dealing 2 to each opponent, and drawing 3 cards before passing to Andy. Andy plays a Command Tower, and equips Thieves' Tools onto Squall. He then moves to combat, and swings Squall at Colby. This has Squall getting double strike since it's attacking alone. Colby then takes the first hit, and Andy reanimates the Priest of Ancient Lore, gaining a life and drawing a card. He then does normal damage, but doesn't have a second permanent to get off of Squall's second hit. Andy then casts and sacrifices the Priest as it enters, draining Max for 1 and drawing another card. He passes after that. Max's turn has him casting his own, and swings the Bitterthorn at Zach. Max finds a land, and Zach takes the 1, with Max passing after that. Zach draws and swings Toski at Max. Max lets him through to return the favor, and takes the hit for 2. This has Zach drawing a card. He then plays a Forest, and then casts Scurry of Squirrels. Colby draws, and in his main phase casts Stitch Together and targets the Seasoned Dungeoneer. It comes into play, and he takes the initiative, entering the Undercity to go and find a swamp. He then goes to combat. This has Colby milling 2, and he then sends Terra at Andy. She gains protection from creatures thanks to the Seasoned Dungeoneer, and explores a land to Colby's hand, and Andy then takes the 3. This has Colby then paying 2 for the on-damage trigger, reanimating the Priest of Forgotten Gods. In his second main phase, he plays Clifftop Retreat, and passes. Andy draws and plays a Plains, and then casts McCready. He follows up with a Stitcher's Supplier, which as it enters, mills 3 cards. He then plays a Welcoming Vampire. Moving to combat, Andy then swings Squall at Colby, and Sephiroth goes at Zach. On attack, he sacrifices the Stitcher's Supplier to Sephiroth's trigger, milling 3 more and draining Max for 1, and Zach and Colby then take their hits. Andy then gets back the Priest of Ancient Lore off of the Squall damage trigger, drawing a card from it and then drawing a card from the Welcoming Vampire. He also takes the initiative from Colby and goes to find a land as he enters the Undercity. Max's turn has him casting a Conformer Shuriken and activates the Tome of Legends again. He then plays Mishra's Factory. He moves the Shuriken onto the germ that is Bitterthorn, and he then casts Griff's Boon on Sephiroth. Going to combat, Max animates Mishra's Factory, and then swings Sephiroth and the germ at Andy. The Shuriken taps down the Welcoming Vampire, and Max's Sephiroth puts a cell counter on his factory. Max also gets drained for 2 from McCready. Andy jumps the germ with his Priest, but takes the hit from the Commander. And Max also gets to go and find a tap basic from the Bitterthorn trigger. Having now taken the initiative, Max goes to find a mountain to put to hand, and passes. Zach's main phase has him casting Primal Might to have the Scurrious Squirrels fight McCready. With it getting taken out, Andy drains Zach for 1 in retaliation. Zach then sends his 2 creatures at Andy. 2 Scurries come at Max and Colby as a result, and Colby blocks the Myriad tokens while Max takes the hit. Andy in turn drains Zach and Colby for 1, and Zach takes the initiative, going to find a forest. He puts 2+1/+1 counters onto Toski and the Scurry as a result of the Scurry's triggers, plus draws him a bunch of cards from the Toski triggers. And his second main phase has him casting an Arcane Signet, a Llanowar Elves, and then an Ornery Tumblewag before passing turn. Colby's got a Fetid Heath as his land drop, and he casts Ripples of Undeath. He then casts Mortify and targets Sephiroth. Going to combat, he then mills 2 to Terra's trigger, and swings Terra at Andy. She gets to explore thanks to the Seasoned Dungeoneer trigger, hitting a non-land card and getting a counter. Colby puts the card into his graveyard, and Andy then takes the hit for 4. Colby then pays the 2 to Terra's ability, bringing back Karmic Guide, which in turn reanimates Gao. In his post-combat main phase, Colby then sacrifices Karmic Guide and Joshua to the Priest of Forgotten Gods. This is each opponent losing 2 and sacrificing a creature. With his 2 mana floating, Colby then casts an Arcane Signet. He then moves to his end step and deals 2 to each opponent with a Gao trigger before passing. Andy draws, plays a Plains, and casts Commissar Severina Rain. He goes to combat and hits Colby with Squall twice, and gets back the Welcoming Vampire, and then Sephiroth, drawing a card off the Vampire. He passes after that. Max plays a Mountain, and animates the Mishra's Factory. He then plays Full Throttle, and swings Mishra's Factory at Zach, and his Sephiroth at Colby. This has Max putting another cell counter onto Sephiroth, and Zach jumps with his Tumblewag, while Colby takes the hit for 8. With the creature getting taken out, Andy drains Zach with Sephiroth, and Max then swings again as he moves to his second combat step. Once more they each take their hits, with Max taking the initiative and getting to put 2+1/+1 counters onto his factory. For his final combat step, Max then swings Sephiroth at Colby and the factory at Andy. Colby gets taken out from commander damage, and Andy in turn casts Withering Torment to take out the factory. With it getting destroyed, Andy drains Max for 1 with Sephiroth, and with nothing else, Max passes. Zach draws and sends both of his creatures at Max, and gets 2 Scurries attacking Andy. Andy in turn double blocks 1 squirrel with the Welcoming Vampire and Rain, and the other with Sephiroth. And before damage, Zach casts Gift of the Viper on his double block token to give it Death Touch and take out both creatures, while Max takes his full hit. Zach in turn puts the Scurry triggers back onto Toski, and scries 2 as he takes back the initiative. He also draws a few cards from the Toski triggers. His second main phase then has him casting Yorvo, and he passes to Andy. Andy's main phase has him casting Sun Titan, which in turn reanimates a Welcoming Vampire again. He then swings Squall at Zach, which he can't block, and takes 3 off the first hit. This is Andy taking the initiative and putting 2+1/+1 counters onto Squall. Then brings back McCready. Zach then takes 5 off the regular damage from Squall, and Andy gets back Sephiroth again. He then passes, with Max drawing a card from the Tome of Legends during the end step. Max draws, plays Clifftop Retreat, and equips the Bitter Thorn to Sephiroth. And then the Conformer Shuriken as well. Going to combat, Max sends Sephiroth at Andy, tapping his Welcoming Vampire. But Andy sacrifices the vampire to high market in response. Andy's Sephiroth in turn drains Zack for 1, and McCready drains Max for 2, and Andy then takes the commander hit. Max then hits Andy for 5 more as he moves through the initiative into Trap, and Max then casts the Iron Crag. He follows that up by activating the Tome of Legends, drawing a card. He then casts a Hex Gold Halberd and passes. Zack draws and casts Leatherback Baloth, and swings Toski at Andy and the Scurry of Squirrels at Max. Max jumps Toski with the Rebel token, and Andy blocks with both Squirrels with the Sun Titan and Sephiroth. Zack casts a Snakeskin Veil on the Squirrel to trade with Sephiroth. Andy in turn drains Zack with both Sephiroth triggers to take him out, which makes the initiative move to Andy. And he moves into the Trap Room, dealing 5 to Max and winning the game. Game review time. So thanks to Andy for playing my patron's deck, Squall. I think the deck is fantastic, and the amount of recursion and value he got from Squall connecting was just insane. Based on that, Squall's the main pick for my MVP. Other than that, it's cool to see the other Sephiroth deck in action, and Max's focus on living weapons and lands to pump up with the stealth counters is pretty cool. Toski as well is a very cool squirrel deck, and it was really nice to see Colby's Terra deck in action, as I've only ever seen her played as the precon. This video wouldn't be possible without the help from my sponsors, but it definitely wouldn't be possible without the help from you, the viewers, and my patrons. So I just want to say thank you for watching, and to remember, friends are just opponents you haven't eliminated yet.